At 16 you've never seen a review like this. Weird old games you cannot tame, this world that you miss. SNES Man is the champion, he is 16-bit. SNES Man is the champion, he is 16-bit.
Hello, my name's SNES Man. I've always had a soft spot for medieval games, you know, classic swords and sorcery adventures. If you give me a controller and let me pretend to run around as some loony bearded dude in chainmail, I'm a happy camper. I've also studied literature on King Arthur and Beowulf and Sir Gawain and all those dudes in college, so I love the era. That's why I always wanted to get Knights of the Round for the Super Nintendo, but I never got around to it until now. It's an uncommon game and it's pricey, at least by my cheapskate standards. I couldn't find it at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo when I was there, so I just said screw it and shelled out $42 on Amazon.com for the cartridge. But hey, at least it was in good condition. My mission today is to talk to you in nitty-gritty detail about this Capcom classic and answer the question, is this game, in 2013, worth the moderately obnoxious price tag? I'll answer that and more in this grand video, so stay tuned. Let's get down to gaming. When you put in the cartridge, the epic story unfolds. Legend says that the man who removes Excalibur from the stone is destined to be king. One day, while training to be a knight, Arthur pulled the sword from the stone, and so our story begins. Ooh, look, it's Merlin! Arthur, the legendary Grail can release the world from chaos. As king, you must find it and use it to unify Britain under your rule. Notice how there's no music here. Cricket, cricket. Fight as one, brave men, and together you shall find it. Yeah, okay, let's play the damn game. From the start, you can choose between three characters. The Orlando Bloomish Lancelot, who's fast and wimpy, the slow and powerful Percival, and Arthur, the balanced, boring, bland British king. Speaking of bees, let's begin. Here's level 1 of Knights of the Round, a very straightforward beat-em-up. If you've played Final Fight or Double Dragon, you know what to expect. Like a lot of action arcade ports, your move list is pretty limited. You have an attack, a jump attack, and a special move which drains some of your health. Considering that you have to sacrifice a chunk of your own flesh just to use it, it's not the most devastating of powers. The most interesting move the game gives you is the block. Press X, and for a brief window of time, you can deflect enemy attacks and leave them vulnerable. Very similar to the modern God of War or Batman Arkham Asylum combat style. I appreciate this being in the game, and it certainly helps on the bosses, but I feel like Capcom didn't make it as smooth as possible. Why? Well, if you hold the block for too long, the game punishes your character by stunning them for a few seconds. So you have to do quick blocks to make sure that doesn't happen. And enemies always seem to wait till after your block to attack. I often stand in front of enemies desperately blocking, and they just stare at me with their dull little expressions and say, "Durr, I'll just stand here for a while and then attack without warning." Most of the enemies have really random, awkward patterns of attacking that are hard to predict. So you're best off in this game just using the basic attack combo. Y button, Y button, Y button. I'm not saying that's a terrible thing, I just wish Knights of the Round had reached its true potential. One little touch that does add some nice variety is the horse. Once in a while you can summon a noble steed that makes you stronger and lets you trample your foes with a double tap jump. It controls like a more cumbersome Yoshi, but I still enjoyed the added variety. You get some human allies in this game once in a while too. They're a bunch of faceless knights with their visors down who attempt to help you. They drop treasure once in a while, and that's good, but that's about all they're good at. The enemy is shooting some arrows? Uh-oh, we better stand in the way. Dead, dead, dead. And then at the end of some of the levels, these guys raise their swords in celebration like, "We saved the day, weren't we helpful?" No, those guys suck. But the main characters in Knights of the Round are pretty cool. Arthur has a tight control style, and his block seems to be the easiest to use. Percival is just plain awesome because he's not even that slow and his attacks are the most powerful in the game. He even has a dash attack that no one else gets. Double tap forward, then press Y, and he does this charge slash thingy with his axe. Needless to say, I play as Percival a lot. Lancelot is my least favorite. Some people like him, but I don't. His walking speed is just as slow as the other characters, and his attacks do no damage. Even his jump attack, which strikes twice, only dents the enemy's health bar. I don't need Lancelot with his silly, luscious golden locks. Go back to the Desolation of Smog set where you belong, Orlando. So, do I enjoy Knights of the Round? Sure, the setting is wonderful. The nice detailed backgrounds and big sprites are fun to look at. The castles look extra fancy and magnificent as you would expect.
It's only a model.
And this is one of the only King Arthur games out there. so there's just an aura of specialness to it. I also like how your character levels up through the game and gets cooler armor and weapons. It's really linear since you can't make any choices in the upgrades and they don't radically change the gameplay, but it's a nice little touch that makes you want to keep playing. I found this game to be really addictive. Even when it annoyed me with the awkward block and some cheap bosses and enemies, I always came back for more punishment. The co-op mode was pretty nice since you could drop in at any moment during the gameplay, and here's a rare treat Capcom gave us. When you lose a continue, you can start again mid-level, even mid-combat, as if you had just put in a quarter. That is really rare in arcade ports for the Super Nintendo. Thank you, Capcom, you are a merciful god. The bosses in this game are easily the most challenging aspect. None of them are based on Arthurian tradition to my knowledge. I've never heard of King Garibaldi or Balbars the Iron Giant, and neither has Google apparently. I get the feeling that the Japanese staff at Capcom wasn't too interested in European folklore when they made this game. They just wanted to slap a famous character on a beat 'em up and call it good. Knights of the Round is definitely an unsurprising typical game. Nothing in it is going to wow you or shock you with its innovation or daring, but it's a safe, comfortable experience. You get lots of continues, and despite the high difficulty and infuriating bosses, the general combat is fun enough to keep you coming back for more. It's a solid entry in the 90s era of carefree fun beat-em-ups. Now, how does this game compare to King of Dragons, another uncommon, underrated medieval beat-em-up on the Super Nintendo? I personally think Dragons is a stronger title. It has crappier graphics and a smaller move list, but it's deeper, man. Takes you to the depths of the incalculable human psyche. Well, okay, I don't know if you've seen my old review of King of Dragons, but I really liked that one. I just had a soft spot for it. You know, medieval hack and slash with RPG elements. The RPG elements are stronger in that one because your characters are radically different from each other and their moves change throughout the game. The wizard even gets a flame staff. But in Knights of the Round, you just get a bigger, more colorful sword that plays the same as the old one. That's like waiting for Christmas as a kid and getting a repainted version of your old bike. Here, son, it's better now because it's blue. No, it still has that nasty, sagging tire filled with sharp rocks, Dad. You can't cover your blatant lies with Ace Hardware paint.
Things to make it better.
More advanced RPG elements that actually change the gameplay as it goes on. A more useful, powerful block. Stronger special attacks that actually justify wasting health. And finally, enemies that actually tie back to recognizable King Arthur legends or movies. My final score for this game is an 8 out of 10, but a weak 8. It's a strong game, but it's not unique enough for me to say, wow, that's a standout Super Nintendo classic. If it weren't for King of Dragons, I would say this is the best medieval action game on the Super Nintendo, but on its own merits, I still have to say Knights of the Round is pretty damn good. What do you think? If you're someone who has played both, please leave a comment and tell me which one you preferred. Now, I'll answer a question I brought up earlier in the video. Is it worth the money? For what I paid, yes. If you find this for under $50, don't hesitate to get it and enjoy the simple action-packed experience. But don't spend any more than that because there are better beat-em-ups on the console, like King of Dragons, TMNT 4, and arguably Super Double Dragon. Knights of the Round isn't the holy grail of gaming, but it's a nice, simple, fun one that will keep you entertained. Thanks for watching this review, guys. Before I sign off, I'm going to give a shout out to some of the new friends I've been making on YouTube. I'm not much of a social butterfly and I don't talk about other YouTubers much, but I thought I would make an exception. So I had the chance to meet a lot of great reviewers and even some fans at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo in October. First is the channel Retro Liberty, where you can watch two badass Californians, Aaron and Ricky, travel around a swap meet searching for good deals on retro games. They've only been around for a year, but they've already kicked my ass and got 3 times my subscribers, and they deserve every one of them. Second is Vintage Video Game Geek. I've been watching him for years. He does excellent game reviews and his voice is hilarious. I can't describe it, it's just so articulate and precise. You have to watch. Third is Arcade Impossible, where Greg Hansen works on expanding his basement arcade collection every episode. He's such a chill guy and he has an amazing knowledge of arcade games. I got a chance to play Joust with him at Portland and it was glorious. Some more people I had a chance to talk to were the illustrious Pro Jared, the amazing Nintendo reviewer NES Complex, the benevolent Portlandian, the avid retro collector Scott from Grimsy42, and Luigi Freakout123, a father-son duo who were so kind to get me a pass to the event. I know it's really late to talk about the expo, but you know me and my snail-paced production schedule. I wanted to wait until a full review to slip in this little plug. Anyway, thanks so much for watching the review, and I hope you're having an excellent December. Auf Wiedersehen! And just to be extra soothing, I'll tell you all, goodbye. I'll talk to you again sometime soon.